Hey guys, Weir, roadrooter.com, coming to you from the greenhouse. As you can tell, things are looking good. Need to plant some more seedlings. Timing, I've always screwed up on timing. Always get all the vegetables at the exact same time. But I'm working on that. You might see my Yale shirt. No, I don't belong to the Illuminati. My son got recruited by them, actually, for soccer. He said, no, ain't going to do it. But they flew him back there and all that, which is really cool. He's in Europe right now playing soccer. He loves it. Absolutely loves it. And Michelle White Dove in my little psychic reading said he's going to be a superstar, like world famous. So I was like, yeah, cool. That was just another thing that led me to believe, well, it might be reading the minds of the people that you are reading. They're, obviously coming up with some really interesting stuff. I mean, how would she ever know my son was a soccer player? But yeah, really cool stuff, if you ask me. Here's what I want to talk about, though. Do a little show and tell. By now, I hope you have ordered and seen or gone on the Patreon channel, Crypto Viewing, and checked out the Mysteries of the Grand Canyon, the Curious Case of Seth Tanner. Dick Allgaier and friends did that. It's really cool, and it's worth I think it's $9.95 per month or something. So go check it out. And they do a lot of crypto viewing. I think the crypto viewing really is tapping into the people asking the questions, though. It seems to me that both sides are doing that, the RV side and the psychic side. Don't know if I'm right. That's Cliff High's take, and it feels like it to me. Because although all that information that I had from got out of this confirmed a lot of stuff that I had thought, it might be coming from me, but it did add in a lot of extra information, which was really cool. I want to show you some of the things that I haven't shown yet in all the show and tells I've done. Of course, this is the first one that Jeff Rentz was talking about, the original article from the Phoenix Gazette, April 9th, 1909. Mysteries of immense rich cavern being brought to light. Jordan is enthused. Remarkable finds indicate ancient people migrated from the Orient. They didn't migrate from the Orient. No, they didn't wander around all over and build these gigantic pyramids. These were built by higher technology civilizations than us. They're not ancient Egyptians. Especially because we can't move those bricks and blocks today, much less 1,000 tons. We don't have cranes that could lift that today. So no, they didn't lift it back in 7,000 years ago, like they said. It's 5,000 or 6,000. Okay, but that's interesting stuff. This is the thing that gets me all excited. This is the reason I got in there. Tell of vast riches in the Grand Canyon. This is an article from the New York Times, June 19th, 1912. You can find this article on roadtoroad.com on the left side in the resources section. This talks of billions of ounces of gold found in the Grand Canyon. Not millions. Billions. And you read the article, there's a guy named F.D. Watson that is in charge of this whole project. And so I did a little research on F.D. Watson, and the only thing I found on F.D. Watson, I don't know if it's the same guy, but remember, this the find of the Golden Grand Canyon was being mined by this financial group out of Chicago. And what did I find? Right there, the Federal Reserve System, its purpose and its works, a paper written in 1922, and look who was on the panel writing it. Can you see that? That says F.D. Watson. Could there be two F.D. Watsons? Of course. Could there be two F.D. Watsons out of Chicago, both working on the financial system? I don't know. It's pretty cool. So this is one of the many, many, many points of proof and documentation I found that there was massive amounts of gold in the Grand Canyon. And that's kind of what I want to show you right now is a chart that I made to really illustrate what's going on here. If there was massive amounts of gold found in the Grand Canyon, like billions of ounces with a B. In 1912, there was only 100 million ounces of gold in circulation. So if you introduce billions of ounces all of a sudden, yes, we would have a societal collapse, a monetary collapse. Huge problem. So let's see, in coin in circulation in 1912, 100 million ounces. The central banks and the treasury, this is all around the world, only had 250 million ounces. And then this article right here in the New York Times is talking about billions and billions of ounces found. Is it a lie? Maybe. Maybe it was just, the banksters trying to scare Woodrow Wilson into signing the Federal Reserve Act. Because some of these banksters had connections at the New York Times. So I did a lot of research. Is it true? Is it not true? Did they really find billions of ounces of gold in the Grand Canyon? Yeah, they did. As a matter of fact, if you read the article, it talks about them building a big steamship within the Grand Canyon, a very inaccessible part of the Grand Canyon. They constructed it in San Francisco, steamship, and two huge barges to get coal for the hydraulic systems that they were going to use to mine this gold. Would they spend all that money? Is it a fake story? Did they not bring that steamship from San Francisco on a train and then by horseback and then pack it down? However they did it, probably float it down from Lee's Ferry. But yes, they did. Right here is a report on the steamship that was built. It's got pictures. It's got everything you need to know. It was called the Charles Spencer. And this report was written in 1987. That steamship is still there. It's submerged, and this is a submerged cultural resources site report. It goes through the mining operations. I'll show you a picture of the steamship itself, which is pretty cool because these go back to the early 1900s. And it was set up out of Lee's Ferry, which is kind of upstream, and that's where the final resting place is. They're starting to build it right there. This is in the middle of the Grand Canyon. It's not like they could fly a helicopter in there. It took days to get there. Let's see here. And this was put together at Lee's Ferry, but the gold was downriver at the confluence of the Colorado River and the Little Colorado River. Let me show you. I think there are some. I've got some somewhere in here. I've got so many documents of the gold in the Grand Canyon. It was a fun research project. Okay. That's what it looks like. That's what it looked like back in, I think it was the 60s. 1973 is that bottom picture. But yeah, if it didn't mean anything, why are they spending all this money on this report? There it is in 1915, right after it was built, and it was abandoned. That is amazing. Something that cost so much money to build from so far away. It was such a hassle to do. There's the final product, up and ready to go in 1912. Then the article comes out. Woodrow Wilson shuts down all mining in the canyon. Amazing. But look how thick this report is. Can't see that, can you? There we go. It's huge. And you can find it at the Glen Canyon National Recreational Area is who did it. Here's the amazing thing again. Another amazing thing about this stuff. Remember the article in the Arizona Gazette talked about this archaeologist named G.E. Kincaid. Kinkaid. And believe it or not, the Smithsonian completely denies any knowledge of any kind of archaeological explorations. They say they've never done any archaeological explorations in the Grand Canyon, which is ridiculous. But they do have an archaeologist at Glen Canyon. at Glen Canyon today. They have an archaeologist. And you know what the archaeologist's name is? Chris Kincaid. Can't make this stuff up. I swear to God. When I go there this summer to the Grand Canyon, I'm going to knock on Chris Kincaid's door and say, "Who's your daddy? Who's your granddaddy?" This is a cool little map of where the two airplanes that crashed into each other supposedly in midair ended up. And that's right at the confluence of the Colorado River and the Little Colorado River. The cave on the side of the cliff that is discussed in the article and RV'd. I don't think it's in that location where they say it's up the Colorado River, about, I think it was 3.5 miles. I think they lied. I think it was up the Little Colorado River, which is right where the Sapapapoo emergence spot of the Hopi is, and it's off limits. Surprise, surprise, it's off limits. Yeah, you're not allowed to go there. Really interesting thing about the gold loan. This gold has not been sitting idle. Here's some mystery gold bars. Talks about a Chinese gold loan to the United States. They lend them the gold for $300 million, which is a lot of money back in, this is the 1934 gold loans, hence the bonds that everybody talks about, those 1934 bonds that are gold backed. This was the gold. It was the gold in Grand Canyon. Even more interesting is one of the bars, a lot of cryptography on it, but look at the zeros with the lines through them. Isn't that on the front cover of the 1988 Economist magazine? And here's a canyon, and it looks like an airplane crash up on top. I'm not making it up. This is, go online and look up, these are Chinese gold bars. I think they're the top 10 unsolved cryptography problems in the world. So all you cryptography guys, solve this one. A lot of my information came from this. It is a Supreme Court case, the United States versus the state of Utah, talking about is the Colorado River navigable, because the state of Utah wanted to get in there and get all the gold. And so it went to the Supreme Court, and there's all this testimony in this Supreme Court case. The case is number 14, October term, 1930. I don't know the exact case number. George P. Parker was the Attorney General of the state of Utah. They ruled in favor of the United States, that the United States can keep the all the gold in the canyon. So, but there's a lot of good testimony in here saying there was massive amounts of gold, and we weren't allowed to mine it. Here's the company, one of the companies. I got a stock certificate online. One of the companies that was working on pulling that gold out. Black Sand and Gold Recovery Company out of Chicago. It's pretty cool. This certificate was issued on January 1st, 1911. I got it online. I wonder if maybe I can go to the DTCC, maybe in the vault at 55 Water Street, the one that got flooded in Hurricane Sandy, hadn't had another one of these. Maybe this is what they're going after. All you conspiracy nuts can go crazy with that. Anyway, that's just some of the information I have from the Grand Canyon. You know, a lot of it is just reading through all the documentation and then putting the pieces together. And reading books also. Arizona Cavalcade. This has the fully reproduced 1909 article, which is really interesting because this was written in 1961. Remember that article from the Arizona Gazette wasn't really found until the 1990s. I forgot who found it, but what's his name? David Hatcher Childers jumped on that and started talking about it. But it was in this book, the entire article from this 1961 little-known book called Arizona Cavalcade, The Turbulent Times. And then there's a Grand Canyon Stories Then and Now. It talks about that guy that we did the RV on, Seth Tanner. Here's a picture of Seth. We've all seen that picture. It talks about him being blinded by the Hopi because he saw the stuff in the cave. Again, go check out the Patreon channel, Crypto Viewing. And yes, you got to open your mind to conspiracy possibilities. Definitely something's going on because they did their work off just 2 numbers. And to come up with those kind of results is, it's either a fraud and they had all this information beforehand, or they're tapping into something that we can't understand, we can't explain, which I know it is because I know they didn't have the information beforehand because I hadn't given it to anybody. So take my word, they didn't have the information beforehand. Anyway, yep, that's what I've been doing today, just to keep my mind off other things and to keep the discussion open about, should they open up the Grand Canyon? They actually almost did. The plan was to open it last year. It was called the Grand Canyon Escalade. A huge project that got the sign-off by the chief of the Navajo Nation, which controls that whole area, the confluence of the Colorado River and the Little Colorado River. They were going to put a tram down to the water. What, are you going to just look at the water? No, they were going to show people the cave. They were probably going to show people the gold. And it was $1 billion project, and it got boxed up and either stalled until we go back to a sane monetary system or gone forever. I don't know. It would make sense that it'd be gone forever. It's Hopi sacred land, but there's so much more going on behind the scenes that I think that's why the head of the Navajo Nation said, yeah, let's do it. So, anyway, this is Bix Weir. I hope you enjoyed your little trip down Grand Canyon Conspiracy Lane. I'll talk to you guys later.